Yep, I can hear you fine.
All
Yep.
right, Sebastian, good. Okay. So those are a sample of those different combinations coming from the Hebrew letters. As we know, the Kabbalists described to us that the Hebrew letters are the DNA of creation. It means that they were the first channel, energetic channel, even though they appear to us in different formats this way today. That's our way really to scan that energy through our eyes and to understand it. But those pathway were the way how the endless light channeled and created everything. The best descriptions to that is when we watch the movie Matrix. So we see how everything is constructed from the numbers, but in reality, the true reality that we are constructed from those symbols. That those symbols are not necessarily belong to one nation, one religion. They are completely universal. The meaning of the word Hebrew, it's passage. Allow passage of energy. That's their purpose to begin with, okay? So as we described, everything that we're going to learn in Kabbalah relates us to the three-column system, like the atom constructed from three columns, main things, which is like the electron, proton, neutron. Also, the way our interaction between the sun, the moon, and planet Earth. This is like the kind of the bigger atom out there. And galaxy, and you're going to find this shape of tree actually everywhere. So the tree is pretty much the right column, which is related to the energy of mercy, the left column, which is related to the energy of judgment, and the center column, which is the merging between the two, as we explained last class. So it says also that creation is divided to 7,000 years, okay? And we know even the week is divided to 7 days, isn't it? We have 6 days of the week, and we have one special day where it says that this is a day that actually the creator rested. But what does it mean rested? It's not about like taking, just a nap because he worked so hard to create this world. Not really about that. It's more about a time where you actually recharge. And we are all built upon this platform of 6 days of the week that we usually, go to work. That's the way the word is designed. And, Saturday, usually the day off. Sunday in some countries also it's a day off, but it's actually Sunday in the ancient text. It's called Rishon, which is the first day of the week. Okay, even though in many countries, Christian countries, they don't use Sundays to work, but actually this is the first day of the week. Okay, so the way I divided that, it's also that the body is also divided to three. Yeah, and it says that also the world was constructed in three ways. One is nefesh. Nefesh is like the human soul. Shana, which is the timeline. And olam means it's the totality of the universe. Yeah. So it says that we are, according to Kabbalah, we are at year 5,783, according to the Kabbalistic calendar. That's where we are at right now. So we are kind of in the midst of the end time. As you see, it's like it's the 6 millennia according to Kabbalah, which means that we are in a very, very process of development of creation. So the first 2,000 years are related to a lower time when we were less developed in a way. The other 2,000 years later, it's the time where all spirituality start to develop what we call the revelations on Mount Sinai, been giving the Old Testament and all of that. That was the beginning process. And now, of course, in the age of Aquarius, we are pretty much progressed into the age of Aquarius. We are in the sign zodiac of Aquarius right now that connect us in a way to the ending stages of creation, of spiritual development. where there is huge gaps between a lot of people that turn into the spirit, soul searching, versus people that are clogged into the chasing after monetary, chasing after tangible things constantly, and what we refer to as the immediate gratification. We're looking for fulfillment, but we look at it for it as a quick fix. Yeah. And that's the verge that we are on. And it says that we've been forced, everyone, that to turn, because the evolution is forcing us for tremendous changes right now. This is the reason in the past 50 years, you see such a strong spiritual evolution that take place. Yeah. So many consciousness paths are available in this world, especially thanks to the communication ways that we have, the World Wide Web. We have all of this available for us, really, so we can actually be able really to raise consciousness. But unfortunately, the moment we are kind of just refusing to go on that path, we're creating a lot of chaos that takes place. You know, the desire that comes for us not really to understand the laws of the game called life, causing a lot of chaos. That's what really happens. And that's the reason we see all what we see happening, especially the biggest thing that happened in the past, century is COVID, pretty much, that really shook everyone and show everyone how weak we are. Yeah, that we can even we are weak to the level that we're afraid of that, and we suddenly so fearful of what's going to happen. What's going to happen with our life. It means that there is no real trust in that place. So this process allows also the gates of this wisdom that was concealed for centuries. The wisdom of Kabbalah was concealed for centuries, and now it's open to the public. It's available. Anyone that wants to learn, there is so many channels that are available. Of course, our center was the first one to reveal all this technology. And what is the technology is all about? It's mind over matter. This is what it's all about. How with my consciousness I can deal with any external situation, and I can divert it, I can twist it towards my benefit, that good things will happen from it as a result. This is what we're learning here mainly. This is what our teacher, the Rav, actually brought to this world. And of course, in order to do that, we have to have the toolbox. It's not that we can do it just by ourselves or just by listening to someone and say, yeah, your mind has so much power that if you try to focus and do this and that, things will happen. Yes, to a certain level. But it happens to us that people are triggering us constantly all the time. And when push comes to shove, that's where it counts. When push comes to shove, it means when I'm challenged in my life, that's where I need to really create mind over matter. Where do we get challenged? Everywhere possible. Everywhere possible, isn't it? So if I'm in a relationship, the person that I love somehow going to disappoint me to the level that I'm going to be so reactive and I'm about to lose it. It could be that there's going to be some kind of a procedure or an health threat on my life that really going to take me out of balance. It could be threat at work. It could be so many things that's happening all around us. The world is designed in such a way to allow each and every one of us to be able to do mind over matter. But if we don't know that, what will happen? We're just going to be disappointed, resentment. We're going to be doubtful. We're going to be having confused. How those spiritual people tell us that the purpose of life is really to be happy and to be fulfilled and to enjoy, this is really the purpose of life, isn't it? Yeah. So how can we do that? The yogis, there are many masters, martial artists that knew how to have joy while experiencing pain. It's not because they were masochists. It's only because they were able to do mind over matter. In that level, it doesn't mean that they master that in life itself. Because in order to master it in life itself, and in order for me really to do what I came to do in this world and manifest great things, which all of us meant to do that, I would be constantly challenged. That's the point. If I'm choosing an environment that I'm not challenged in it, it means that I'm actually not really playing the game of life. How do people choose not to play the game of life? We have many options. We can take the screen right now of the computer and we can live life through it. Most of us already doing it so many hours of the day. Now even the workspace becoming the screen. And you imagine. So we don't need to deal with people as we used to, or in a format we used to. I don't know how those Zoom conference call at work, if people are getting triggered as they were triggered back in the office. Probably not the same, but I'm sure there are also those things happening too. But we can choose either to live life virtually, or we can choose to live life as much as we can, of course, among people, in person, what we call, because that's where the tikkun is according to Kabbalah. Tikkun, it means the correction of my soul take place around that. Okay, so as we show here, so the first level was the beginning phases, which is the middle. The middle one is actually, it's related to all the true work that humanity had to do in order to open the channels, in order to get to what we call the age of Aquarius, when people are more mindful, people into wellness, people into mental health, people are much more open to spirituality. There was a huge process for us to do in order to get there. And that's related to the three organs, those main organs in our body, which is the liver, the spleen, and the bile. And those are the correction that gone through there. Those are especially the liver is the filter of all our energy in the body. It means it takes the blood, but the blood, it says, according to Kabbalah, that the blood delivers the parts of the soul. It means that one level of the soul, which called the nefesh, is carried out through the blood. It's the lower level. And imagine yourself, all what I'm doing in life, if I'm doing good or I'm doing negative act, it's all suffocate into my bloodstream, into my soul, through my bloodstream. Is that making sense? And then it has to get filtered through the liver. So the function of the liver is so important in correspond to the heart and the brain. Those are the three organs that are the most important in the body. And they say, I study a lot of nutrition, that most of us living with a liver that function only 10% to its capacity. What does it mean? It means that it's already so clogged, and the liver is the only organ that actually can renew itself. But we're not allowing it to renew itself because it's a magical organ. It can take negativity and transform it, but we have to take care of it. We have to treat it. We have to cleanse it. We have to give it the right nutritional. It's like so. I learned that sugar is the number one enemy of the liver, pretty much. So when there is a lot of sugar, and sugar, what is representing, pretty much? What's sugar represent? Do you guys know? What sugar represent? No, I mean, this is too fanatic. What is it? What does it represent? Pleasure, isn't it? Can we do without sugar? I cannot do without sugar, even though I'm on keto for 5 years. Yeah, so it means I have to have my dark chocolate every day. Exactly. Yeah, I mean, we still need one teaspoon of sugar every day. It's needed for the body, but we get like 25, if not more, Can you imagine? 25 teaspoons of sugars. Some people, they eat half a kilo of sugar every day. It doesn't make sense. So, but what it represents, the sugar represents what we call the immediate gratification, our desire for pleasure, for something that's going to lift us up, get us to the mood. We have other things like that. We have the caffeine, we have the carbs, we have many different things, but eventually the core inside of it is the sugar, okay? So it represents what we call the external drug, yeah? There are other things, yeah, but I'm just giving you the example. There were many other things that not even relate to nutrition. It's like the actions that we take in. Yeah. So as we reactive going towards the sugar, that's how we reactive going towards immediate gratification socially. So we need compliments. We need someone to tap us on our backs. We need certain success. We're chasing. We need these things to fill us up. We need the shopping. We need the overly sexual interaction. We are addicted to so many things that give us immediate gratification. Okay, so this is where it is. It's really in the core of our body. Yeah. So if you see, I put on the slide the heart. So the heart is already relates to the last part. Because the heart and the brain, their function, the spiritual function, it's already towards the correction. Yeah. It says like when the heart and the brain are connected, which is one of the most difficult things to do, really, the analytical to the emotional. When we are able to do that, we can master life. But that's where the connection to our soul is taking place. So as I mentioned here, it's related to our three patriarchs, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. They are the chariot for that energy. Okay, so we know why I put this line, because we know that the 72 names are also divided to those three columns. They're taking from three different verses that eventually brought about this combination of technology, of mind over matter. So, and it says that it's also divided to the time of the year. So if you see like the middle point and where we can actually do the most intense cleansing, it's actually from the second third of the timing of the year. So let's say we divide the year to 3-2, okay? So 4 months each. So according to the Kabbalistic calendar, okay? So it's according to the zodiac time. So those 4 months of cleansing, of strong spiritual diet, it's taking place from the full moon of this month up to the full moon of the month of Gemini. This is the process of cleansing. And if you know what it's related to the biblical scripts, you know that this is the time of the Exodus of Egypt takes place, and all the 49 days of counting that take place. All of those times really about spiritual cleansing, of we cleansing those organs and their spiritual meaning, not just the physical meaning, because physical is just an effect of the spiritual. It's just an image of the spiritual. That's it. So if I'm taking care of myself spiritually, it means also that sometimes I can eat sugar, but I can make sure with my consciousness, with my good mind over matter, that it won't damage my organs. It's also possible, isn't it? So, because someone that knows about nutrition, every time that he eats, that he fall and he eats something which is unhealthy, he self-beat himself, say, oh, look at me and what I did to myself and all of that, isn't it? That's how we feel. But that's wrong. That's wrong. Because you're allowing matter to overcome the mind. And we want to do the opposite. So even if we doing something that is maybe not the best and most accurate thing that need to be done, not just on the way we eat, in the way we speak, the way we articulate things, the way we function, all of that. We cannot really self-beat ourselves because we're making much more damage to our soul, much more damage. Say, okay, I fell down. Let's raise up. Let's correct it. Let's do what we call tshuva over it and move on. Don't feel now, depressed because I made a mistake. This self-hate that we all going through, this is one of those things that relate to the negativity that we have to fight in our life. So this is the period we're about to start it in a few days, and it's going to go for the next 4 months, where we can really achieve a lot of spiritual cleansing. So as we said, mind over matter. What does it mean, mind over matter? So I explain it with a story. So there was this guy that unfortunately he got sick with cancer, huge tumor in his body. He went to the doctor, and the doctor told him, good news, new product in the market. You take this, it's amazing. It's we have such a good feedback on this product. It's gonna cure you. The guy is so happy. He's happy. He's celebrating, taking this medicine. Yeah, after a few months, remission disappeared. The tumor disappeared. It was a huge tumor. Disappear. Suddenly it's appearing that this medicine is not as good as they thought it is. After a period of time, they found that this is actually doesn't do anything. So the doctor is telling himself, so what really happened here? What happened with the guy? I gave him this medicine that doesn't really work, but something happened that he was able to eliminate the tumor. So something happened within him that caused the tumor to be gone. And that's why we know that many of the new medicine that get tested, they tested parallel to someone that tests placebo. Yeah? Why? To see the impact. So he said, okay, I'm going to try with him, because the moment this guy heard that this medicine is not as good, suddenly the tumor started to come up, the cancer started to come again. So he said, okay, I'm going to test them. So he announced that there is another medicine to the guy, and he told him, listen, this is a real good one. And he took this one, and again, remission. Again, cancer disappeared. But what appeared that the doctor gave him placebo. It's a real story, by the way. It's a real story. He gave him a placebo, and he was able, with the power of his mind, really to eliminate something that considered to be uncurable till this very day. So this is how powerful our mind is. How we can do it long term, and not necessarily in places that we don't have even a choice, or it's such an urgent place that we have to actually take an action, change our mindset, as we say. We are forced to change our mindset. This is where we kick in, because we are not necessarily always in that alert that if we won't do something, there is no way out. Yeah, but we need to live this way in so many levels, that I want to control everything that happens in my life, and I want to direct that. This is the joy, this is the experience, this is the feeling of what we call the creative. When we come to that more and more and more and more in our life, this is the reason why we came to this world and what we came here to be trained. So I want us to touch to the script, the original script of Kabbalah, which is the Zohar. It's a script that was written 2,000 years back. And if Sebastian, can you help us to read the English, please?
Sure. Now or
Yeah,
after?
yeah.
Okay. We can also explain, and he took off his chariot wheel. Come and behold, happy is the portion of Israel that the Holy One, blessed be he, wanted to join with them and to be their portion, and that they should be his portion. This is what is written, and hold fast to him. And but you that did cleave to Hashem your Elohim, to Hashem indeed. It is also written, for Yah has chosen Jacob for himself, and for Hashem's portion is his people, Jacob is the lot of his inheritance. For he brought them forth from the holy seed to be his portion. This is not so for the other side and the nations of the world which have no connection to Zer and Pin. Therefore, he gave them the holy Torah that was concealed 200 years before the world was created, and this has already been explained. Because of his love, he gave it to the children of Israel to follow and to cleave unto it.
So as we remember, everything is coded in the Zohar. When we talk about Israel, it's not a nation, it's not a religion. It's pretty much those souls that are able to apply the 3-column system in their life. So what it says here, that we call it the Zeir and Pin, that's the Kabbalistic term, the Zeir and Pin, said the laws of the cosmos that were revealed on Mount Sinai were the wisdom that allows us how to become the center column in our life, not right, not left, the one that merges everything, that creates the circuitry. Because without 3 columns, it's impossible to create an electric circuit. So this is what he talks about. So what is mind over matter? It's either seeing is believing. That's when I'm controlled by my 5 senses. Yeah, I need to see in order to believe. I need to experience in order really to have the results. Versus believing is seeing. Okay, so I visual everything first in my mind and I cause it to happen. This is the difference. This is what we want to start training ourselves. And you can examine it in so many different ways. So many people, the consciousness world, talking about that right now. And we heard Michael Berg lecture last week. He talks that there is nothing actually out there beside the light force, isn't it? What does it mean? That sometimes the light force, it's manifested in one way or another, but there is nothing out there beside it, meaning that if I decide, what does it mean? It means that if I'm not really focusing and watching this table or this chair, it doesn't really exist. It exists because through my eyes, the light force is actually allowing it to be taking place. So therefore, I can exercise it in the way I do things in my life. So it means that if I'm believing in myself, if I'm believing that I can and visualize that I can be successful, that's what will happen. I can visualize someone that I want to connect to, or mind like people that I want to be near it. The cosmos, that's the law of attraction, meaning that it must come closer to me. But again, I really, it's not really about, oh, I'm taking action and I'm waiting to success to take place. No, it's more about, I'm already successful, I just take the action because this is what's necessary to be done. But I'm already feeling successful. Is that making sense? Okay, so the next verse, Sebastian.
Sure. He questions, was the splitting of the Red Sea difficult for him? Is it not written? He rebukes the sea and makes it dry. He calls for the waters of the sea and pours them out upon the face of the earth. And as soon as the desire arises before him, everything is as nothing before him. And you say that splitting the Red Sea is difficult to perform before him?
So we know that when we want to describe something that was difficult is when we talk about the splitting of the Red Sea. This famous story, where the Israelites wanted to run away from the Egyptians, and on one end they're facing the sea, on the other end they're facing the Egyptians wanting to kill them, and eventually they were able to awaken. That's what we call a miracle, where they were able to take this sea and split it into two. There were two pillars, and they were like the center pillar that's going inside the sea, but on a dry land. Yeah, they said there is nothing more difficult than tearing apart an ocean. Of course, it's a tremendous miracle, because we know, like, to defy the rules of nature, the rules of water, it's very, very difficult. So that's the question that it's awakened. It's going to lead us also to the next verse. Please read for us.
Similarly, matchmaking is as difficult before the Holy One, blessed be He, as the splitting of the Red Sea. Just as by the splitting of the Red Sea, these are killed on the one hand, while others are kept alive on the other hand. By matchmaking, it is also written, He brings out the prisoners into prosperity. We have learned that it is spelled with the letters of weeping and singing, because this one dies and there is weeping, and he gives his wife to another and there is singing. Sometimes a wicked person gets a good woman. Therefore, mating is as difficult before him as the splitting of the Red Sea. There are concealed secrets in it all, and it is all according to the law. And what the friends have remarked about this, to explain why one is thrust aside before another, certainly it is so.
So what is the interesting about those two verses? Is why it was so difficult for the Creator to allow the splitting of the Red Sea. Because on one hand, he had to save the Israelites. On the other hand, he had to drown the Egyptians. So it was a huge act of mercy towards one nation, and a huge act of judgment towards another nation. So now the Zohar compares it to matchmaking, and says that one of the most difficult things for a person is really to find his exact match. It's like adraf, what we call, his soulmate. And why it's so difficult? Because there are times that there are delays in someone's relationship, that the man or the woman finds someone else before she meets or he meets her soulmate. And therefore, in order to match them together, at times you have to separate the other partner, and the separation actually could take place through death if there is no reason for divorce. Yeah, so there are many, many stories in the text that prove that it's so difficult really to matchmake. So again, is it matter over mind or mind over matter? Now, this is the charts of the name. The 72 names you see, there are 72 different combinations there. Now, the Zohar explains also that they relate to the sign of the zodiac. Okay, so if we have 72 names, we divide it by 12, we will receive 6. So every 6 are related to the different signs. So we know that the first sign of the zodiac is Aries. The last sign of the zodiac is Pisces. So that's how you count. So you see the first purple ones from right to left are belonging to Aries. The next 6, the green, belonging to Taurus. The next 6, Gemini, Cancer, Leo, Virgo, Libra, Scorpio, Sagittarius, Capricorn, Aquarius, and Pisces. What is it trying to tell us? That those 72 names are pretty much the decode, the antidote for the sign of the zodiac that represent the word of nature. We know that the sign of the zodiac, they represent our programming, our reactive system. That's pretty much our operating system, isn't it? That's how we operate, that's how we behave. One is behaving in that way or another way, but there is the repetitive behavior that he actually cannot control. We call it nature. But we know that if you remain with the nature that you came to begin with, you kind of remaining limited. So the idea is with the up of the names, how we can actually defy the nature that exists within ourselves. So I want to do an exercise with you. Please try not to look at the signs of the zodiac, and to scan and to choose yourself one name randomly, but with consciousness. It means that you're allowing a sign to lead you towards one name for your choice, and pick it up and remember it. And this is going to be the one that you actually going to work on. I can explain to you later on. We can check the book and tell you which one is that name and what does it mean. Okay? So close your eyes for a second and then open it and choose. Meditate that you're going to get a sign of something that will allow you really to create the breakthrough that you're looking for in one area that you feel struggle right now. It could be financial, it could be relationship-wise, it could be health-wise, it could be conflict-wise, it could be family, it could be whatever you. Just choose one. And try to relate it to one reactive behavior that it's repetitive within you. Everyone chose one? Yeah? Okay. Okay. Want to give me an example? Anyone? Let's try to work with it. I don't know if I remember all of them by heart. Yes, which you chose? Okay, I know this one very well. You don't know the one? Ah, but you know to read it. That's good. Yeah, so Samech Aleph Lamed related to sustenance, actually. And yeah, and it's the numerical number is 91, which is the connection between the two words, pretty much. The supernal and the physical. It's the word amen. So it's really how sustenance will come to someone's life only when he able really to connect those two words, the physical, the word of consciousness, mind over matter, and how to act upon it in this world. But it's related to sustenance. It's telling you something? Okay. Yeah. I mean, you have difficulties in money making. You are a student, so yeah. Exactly. Yeah, because money is freedom. Anyone else wants to try? Yeah. Yeah, near the Samech Aleph Lamed, yeah? Yeah. So with Lamed A, if I'm not mistaken, it's a dream state. It's our ability to use dreams as messages. Ah, yeah? Interesting. Anyone else wants to try? You you went on the center. You shoot on the center. Yeah. Yeah.
They're all very important, and I need all the different reasons, but for me, one, this is the only me and my connection to the vertical, and then everything will be sorted out from there. The rest is it.
Yeah, but it also says, the Rav explained, that many people are praying to God and trying to establish communication with the Creator. And many praying, help, I need assistance, I need clarity, I need this. That we're always doing those things, yeah? But it says that in order to communicate and to get God on the phone, first you have to dial. And dialing is really the technology. It's really understanding that you need to know how to do it. It's not just by, demanding or asking. There's a certain way to do it, or a better way to do it. Okay, beautiful people. So any question from our friend online?
Can I ask you something, David?
Yeah.
When we use the 72 names, when we scan the 72 names, based on everything that we talk, what is the consciousness that we need to try to frame ourselves when doing that, just not to become something mechanic? Like sometimes I feel that what I do is just sometimes become something like ritualistic,